What is going on, everybody? Cloud the Pagan rapper here with International Pagan Radio. We are back with another artist spotlight, and it is my pleasure this week to bring Hem Netjer out into the light here so that we can talk with them a little bit about what they're doing. They are a very, very fast up and coming band in our community, and I gotta say that the music is top notch. The work is there. All right, so I'm here with Raven, David, and Jesse. I'm not sure what's going on, guys. How are you?
Hello.
Hey.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Absolutely, it's an absolute pleasure. So before we get going, I want you guys to talk about what you guys do in the band. And who does what. Where's the magic happening?
Okay, well, so I guess I'll start. As you know, I'm Raven Rissy. I had the idea for the project back in my third year of studies at university, so a few years ago now, because I graduated in 2020. And basically, the whole concept of the band just kind of started from reading ancient Egyptian texts, and their texts refer to a lot, they describe sound a lot, so I thought it would be really cool at one point to try and like make something like using those words and trying to actually create sound, and then it kind of morphed and formed over time. And so yeah, that's where the band kind of started. And then so I do a lot of things. Composition, writing most of the lyrics, marketing, graphic design. David and myself design our sigil logo, the website, organization queen behind all the things. So that's kind of jack of all hats, as it were. But these guys help me out so much, and it's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Can't do it without them.
I love that.
Yeah. I would say what you see is Raven is the epic lead singer. So she's she's the one telling the story. She wrote the lyrics that we understand for the most part. Pagan themes, personal themes, and then David, I'll let you.
I was gonna say, since you're talking already, you might as well go tell us what you're doing.
What do you do?
I can go.
Well, it started with you guys together because 2 years ago, just when the pandemic started, I ran into you guys online. And we had some common friends, and you had the band, and I was interested. But you had 5 demos already ready to go at that point. So you were already on your way. You had the main songs ready, Otherworld, the Kemet EP, ready to go. And Dave does the synthesizers and the beats and plays that part of the music. He brings a lot of the sound into it. And also, I want to mention, Dave, you better get your staff and you better get your glove, because I want people to see what you do with that.
Yeah,
because he has a crazy technology with his glove that he programmed to play music, but based on touch. And he's playing his staff. We have some live videos coming out later on that you can actually see it in action. It's amazing. So that's where it started. And then I came in and, hey, do you want any throat singing? And
I was like, yes.
Yeah, it just fit, it's like I just lay my vocals over top. I'm kind of like an instrument, but I'm kind of like chanting. It's kind of like a ritual meditation. There's a word where people, it's like mantras almost, it's our own individual creative work that we put all together here. And it's really exciting. As Rissy was saying, we just had our first show. We've been together for 2 years. We've worked on a lot of music, but we've never had a chance to play. And we're just so, I think, relieved that we finally are happening.
I love it. I honestly love it, because you can tell, just from like 5 minutes of talking with you guys, you can tell that there is a camaraderie between the three of you, that, you guys get along really well. It seems like, there's a lot of really good energy happening right now. And you know, I gotta say, listening to your music, I've definitely found myself falling into a meditative state, while listening to it before,
Yes.
like without planning on it, like so. I mean, what you guys really are doing is magic. It is
Thank
music,
you.
bardic magic, and so hats off to you guys for what you're
Thank
doing.
you.
It
Thank
is
you.
absolutely amazing. So you guys are from Vancouver, right? Uh,
Mhm.
good old Canada. We love Canada. And So how's things out there on the West Coast for a band that's doing, esoteric, Egyptian themed music? Like, is there a big scene for it out there? Because I mean, you just
So
got your first show, but
Yeah.
the Rissy and I were coming a little bit more from the industrial kind of background.
Yeah.
So, Vancouver was always pretty well, like we moved here 7 years ago. And it was always really well known for, bands like Skinny Puppy and a lot of like industrial music
Frontline
that,
assembly.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
so a lot of the influences for that has been from there, but then we also met some pretty cool pagan groups. So it was kind of like really nice to find that like crossover and that combination. And, it's interesting to see like when we did the show, seeing those two worlds come together was kind of fun.
Yeah, that was really interesting having like, the goth industrial friends hanging out and then there's all the pagan friends hanging out. And we're like, that's cool. All right, let's merge these two together. And it was really neat. Yeah.
And don't forget my party crazy crew. That
Oh yes, yes, yes. Jesse had his fanboys and fangirls, his crew with
love
him. It
that.
was wonderful. Yeah, yeah, it
Yeah,
was adorable.
and another thing about your music, is that it is different outside of the normal pagan music mold that has formed over the last 30 years or so, where there hasn't been a whole lot of people really breaking outside of your acoustic folk or your like tribal folk kind of bands, so hearing this industrial meditative thing, like package with these themes behind it is really refreshing to hear because it's showing evolution in our musical community, as witches. Um,
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, like myself included, here I am out here rapping about witchcraft.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
You know what I
totally,
mean?
Pretty cool too.
Like,
totally.
it's definitely it's showing that the art is speaking for itself now instead of being put in a little box.
Thank you.
And I
Yeah.
think that is absolutely wonderful. So you had the demo, right, when Jesse came on, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So kind of what happened from there? Kind of walk through, where we're at up to this point. You
Yeah,
know,
so basically, yeah, so like Jesse had mentioned, we had about five or so songs, roughly like kind of like a skeleton with like a little bit of meat on them, not much going on. And we were trying to figure out, Dave and I, because like Jesse said, Dave writes a lot of the synth line melodies. He's very good at those little catchy little phrases you hear. And so we had some stuff going on. We were trying to figure out what else we could put into it to give it a little extra kick or something. We noodled around with like a bass guitar and like
Well, we had a bunch of that stuff, but
yeah.
did you forgot that then the pandemic happened?
Well, no, I know, but like, then the pandemic happens and we're like, well, we're all stuck at home and everything from, the entertainment and concerts and that whole industry, completely gone for a couple years, desperately hanging on here. Venues are closing, like it's
yep.
so it was really and I know for myself, having been in previous, musical projects, it was very much a I can't market or do anything the normal way because that's all shut down. So It was a lot of trying to think outside the box and be like, okay, well, I guess we have to turn to social media, and make like little video clips, start working on some music videos, start, doing some photography, like that type of stuff, because there was really, no other way you can market yourself, because you can't play live shows, you can't,
Yep.
there's no point in making a big bag of merch because it's going to sit in your house. Like you can't, from a financial side, you couldn't really do much. So we then, like Jesse said, we found Jesse, and we started like chit-chatting quite a bit. And we sent him some of the demos, and he sent us back some amazing throat singing. We're like, oh my god, this guy's amazing, he needs to be in it. How do we get him to stay?
Thank you.
And then and then what do we do then? So we had
The demos.
we had the demos, and
then we booked a recording session.
yes, we booked a
with
recording session.
Jason Corbet from Actress, which is like a pretty well-known post-punk band from Vancouver.
Yeah.
He has a recording studio. And the day before,
Yeah, that was great.
we met Jesse for the first time. I don't know
in person.
If you want to pick that up, Jesse,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was basically.
Yeah, it was like, I like the way you say it, Dave. Hey, nice to meet you. Want to make an album?
Yeah, let's record the album tomorrow.
Let's record it tomorrow. Cool.
Yeah.
We found a lull in the restrictions. We're like, all right, let's do this. And
Yeah.
So we had one rehearsal, and the next day we recorded the album. But the rehearsal already showed that it just worked, because
awesome.
it was like, it just clicked, like everything was there. So that was the nice part about, like, it just fit. It wasn't like anything difficult or anything. It was like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. And then we recorded, the lyrics, the Jesse's throat singing, some percussion instruments with Jason, and then a good friend of ours, Scott Fox, he's in a tribal industrial band from Edmonton called Ivardensphere. Highly recommend. Stuff is very, very good. We've known him for quite a long time, and we ended up chit-chatting. And we were telling him, we're thinking of this kind of idea. And we sent him some of the demos. And he's like, oh my God, I need to master this. I need to mix this. Let's do the things.
Can I go nuts?
Can I go nuts?
When he says, can I go nuts?
Yes, you can, Scott.
And the
Please
drum
go nuts.
wizard goes nuts.
Yeah.
Well, he did a great job.
Yeah. Honestly, nothing but Scott Fox is an amazing person. And, we feel very blessed to have him working with us, and, his drum wizardry at times, because he's really, really good at what he does. And he's been in the music industry for such a long time. And, it's good that, after so long, he's actually getting the recognition that he deserves for the music he makes. So he came on board, and, we said all our stuff to him, and we got the first EP back, and we're like, oh, this is amazing. Oh my goodness.
And then we showed the video.
Yeah. And then we shot the Otherworld music video in 2020, and with a good friend of ours, a local videographer here, Joey Chaos, and it went over really well, as much as you can see with stuff online. And then we just said, well, I guess we just got to keep going and doing more videos and getting more material, because we still can't play live. So that's roughly how that got started.
And I mean, that was kind of good and frustrating at the same time. I think
in
the beginning we had a lot of energy, and we're like, yeah, let's keep going. And we made more videos, we made more songs. And then it became really hard too, because of restrictions. And then the pandemic would come back, and it was really tough. But
you think things are going to open up, and then everything shuts down again, and then we had we were supposed to play a festival in February, and then it got canceled, and so it was a lot of up and down type of stuff.
Yep.
So.
I know exactly what you're talking about, because I put my first album out in March of 2020, and it was everybody's like, wow, this is awesome, but we can't have our festival, or and it's like okay, well, that's fine, but the social media marketing side of things, the way that the music industry itself has evolved, it's a grind. It really is. It is a constant grind. You have to constantly be thinking of content, and constantly thinking of the next video, the next piece that you're going to put out. And all of the hits and all of the misses, and it's
Totally.
it's a lot, you know. It's
Yeah.
you know, I want to go back to the days where you had a promoter at a bar, you know,
Mhm.
and you know you're putting flyers up and
Mhm.
kind of going from there. You get interesting enough flyer, people are going to come check it out. But
Yeah, I always say I love and hate social media. I think it's very useful and it has its wonders, but it's also, like you said, it's a grind, and it's a lot of behind the scenes work that,
yep,
you know, you just got to sit down and do it, you know. So,
yeah,
yeah.
it's a lot more time consuming than people
Yes.
lead
Realize
it up.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. One interesting thing about also the question, so with our first Otherworld single and then the Kemet EP, as you mentioned earlier a little bit, Kemet was very Egyptian themed, and Rissy, maybe you could talk about that a little bit. And then, but then, and that was your original concept for that EP only, not necessarily, I'll let you explain it, but I was going to go and say, when I added my throat singing to it, it was almost a little bit of, you had the first 5 demos out and I was singing along, we kind of like made it up as we went there for the first EP. But then when we got into the new album that's being released slowly, we've released Void and Salt and Tears, and then there's more coming later for the next album. If you could talk about that album, but we made that one from the ground up. Like you would
Yeah,
send me
together. Yeah.
like the bare bones. This is me with my phone singing my story, and then you would get Dave and he would add the music, and then I would put the throat. We collaborated, I think, a little bit more for that.
Yeah,
totally.
it was a lot nicer too, because, you know, like Jesse just said, the first one was kind of like, hey, come on board, and that was great and it worked very well. But this time, you know, and we were able to get together in person a bit more at that point, you know, once we started working on this new album last year. And that really helped a lot, because like it's great that we can do this online and it's wonderful, but there is something missing when you can't, you know, hang out in person for an afternoon and all sit in the room and like listen to this stuff like 10,000 times, you know, like it's
Yeah, and like legitimately sit down and write something.
exactly,
Yeah, I
exactly.
agree.
You know, or, you know, even now, you know, being able to jam on a weekly basis, you know, and practice on a weekly basis, just being able to, you know, not just play our songs, but even just, you know, jam not in an apartment, you know, at normal volume levels, and be able to just make stuff up together, you know, that has also been really valuable, that we want to actually, I know Dave was talking about doing that more on the next album that, you know, we want to make after this one's released and stuff. So yeah, it was a lot nicer to be able to work together
That's
more,
awesome.
or a little bit
So
easier.
so speaking of that work, right? We're gonna take a quick break here, and we're actually going to play the aforementioned video for Salt and Tears. All right. And I want you guys that are watching this video to comment below your thoughts. And then after you send that comment, I want you to go over to Hem Netjer's website and say what's up. Okay. And follow them everywhere. Okay. So without any further ado, guys, here is Salt and Tears by Hem Netjer. All right, everybody. So that was Salt and Tears. That video is awesome, guys. So how did that come together? Because there's a lot happening in that video.
Yeah, so as you can see in the song, we have a guest musician, Victor Noguera, from the Spanish folk band Colibri, and he's over in Spain. And he reached out to me because I'm a big fan of his project that he's in. And he was like, "This is so cool. I would love to. I play didgeridoo. We should do a thing one time." And I was like, "Oh yes, please." And so we started talking, and I sent him the demo after Jesse had recorded his song, his vocals and my vocals, and we were like, "All right, well, here's a song we're thinking of. Take a listen. Let me, send us something back, and we'll see." And so he sent us back this amazing didgeridoo line that you hear in the song as well, and yeah, it was really, really awesome. I think we would all love one day to be able to play the song live all together on the same stage.
See, that's awesome. Like the spirit of collaboration.
Yeah.
It really is alive and well again.
Or a battle, right, Jesse?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So when Victor joined, I was both terrified and excited at the same time, because he is so amazing that I felt threatened, because I was the one that was supposed to be the mystical the one who connects to the ancestors with the particular type of sound. The didgeridoo is a very special instrument, I think, when it comes to like the indigenous people keeping it alive originally. Same thing with throat singing. And I was so like scared that I had to attack. I had to go into my creative process for the song, and I kind of changed up a little bit what I did and the idea behind it. And it's like a battle of the titans, and you might see some weird innuendo in the video, like me growling and attacking, and essentially I'm this, the dark center of me is hiding and sulking and ready to attack. And in the moment, for a couple of the breakdowns, he's doing his amazing didgeridoo, and I'm like fighting him, and we get wounded, and then I go crawl back to the sea. Do I die? I don't know. Do I fight again? To be continued, but that's how it is.
Yeah,
it's like two ancient sea creatures battling, like like it's a water song too.
Yeah, and it was great in the video because Victor used one of his good friends with their production company over in Spain, and they went out to the ocean there and did some of those amazing shots that you see. And it is
shot in two different countries.
It's shot in two different countries.
Didn't notice that.
Yeah,
it's on two different continents.
Yeah, it's shot here in Vancouver and in Spain. So
that's awesome.
It was really yay for technology, because it was awesome.
I absolutely love that. I love that so much. So, Jesse, I have a specific question for you when it comes to the throat singing, right? Because there isn't exactly, 8 million people out there who are throat singing. So, one, how did you get into it? And two, is that something that can be taught? Or is it something that is just like an innately, you learn it and pick it up kind of thing?
Well, yeah, like you say, exactly. It's not that common. And I think that's why I was so attracted to it, because I wanted to do something different. But not only is it just different and unique, but it's very therapeutic in a sense, like to be able to sing for one, and then to sing with the richness of the lower tones being used. It's really rewarding for me. It's part of my own personal practice of meditation and chanting. And but in the real world, it's in quite a few cultures around the world. A lot of indigenous cultures spread around the globe, but mainly in Eastern or Central Asia. They have a couple countries, Mongolia and Tuva, where especially in Tuva, throat singing is like a national art. It's almost a national sport in a sense. They have competitions every year. They have amazing talent, and what they can do with their own sounds and instruments and the throat singing is just so good that it's a good bar for me. That's the way I think, oh, okay, if I want to learn this, I'm going to study from them and listen to them because they're the experts. So many people before me too have gone to tuba or learned to throat singing, and so it's creeping into our world. In the Western world, there's several other artists out there who are throat singing or crossover bands, like for example the Who, for example. I think everybody knows the Who.
Yep.
And they love the Who. They are a great band. They got throat singers, they got all sorts of amazing things going on, and they have their traditional instruments and throat singing, but also rock and metal. Yeah. So
they were so good live.
Yeah, one of my inspirations for sure. And many other artists are crossing back and forth. And so how I learned, I guess I'll just say quickly. For a long time, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was kind of like flat with my life, but I had a labor job, and the labor job sort of taught me that I could do anything that I want. And when I discovered throat singing, I'm like, that's what I want to do. So I knew I could do it. I just had to practice. So essentially anybody can do it. But it is a little bit, the learning curve is a little bit hard, but you got to just believe you can do it, and you practice, and then you're there. Anybody can do it. Now, the people in Tuva and Mongolia, for example, they're usually raised at a very young age. So it's a part of their culture. It's easier to learn, but that, it's not necessarily a total barrier. I just learned from YouTube, there's some throat singers, and I'm like, that's what I want to do. So I just tried, and it didn't work at first, but then it would work the next time, and just keep going and just practice daily. And that's it.
Yeah.
YouTube is a wonderful invention. It's wonderful and terrible at the same time.
Right.
Totally.
It really is. But yeah, because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who are interested in the idea of throat singing and becoming a throat singer.
I'm looking forward to that. I'm actually looking forward to that. And anybody that reaches out to me, I give free tips. Like I'm not going to charge anybody to learn throat singing. I'll put a video, or I'll show you what I do. Like,
actually, you have one on our YouTube channel.
Yes,
that's pretty good.
That's true.
Yeah.
There is a
really
YouTube. Yeah, there is a video on our YouTube channel on it. Yeah, that's
so
true.
for example, here's something. Let me just try this. If you breathe heavy, that could get you into it. Like without saying any vocals, just and then just start to add your vocals slowly. And then and you might cough or tear up, but because it's virgin skin and it hasn't vibrated that way before, so just take a break and then come back in a little while, and then you can expand your range from there as well. And then all of the overtones are actually easier to learn. The overtones, so you've got the Cargra bass, but then if you want to learn overtones, those are mouth shapes. Simply mouth shapes and a little bit of constriction. So for example, sing Oreo really slowly. You're going up and down, so they're all there. You just have to fine tune it.
There you go. Very interesting. There you go. Look at that. Yeah. My man.
This is why we keep him around.
No, I mean, it's awesome. Because I'm listening to you guys, and I'm like,
You got ideas? You got ideas?
Yeah, of course I always have ideas, and it's one of those things that, it intrigues me, the idea of what you guys are doing. So it's very intriguing to me, the industrial sounds. And then it goes from this like chill vibe to this like meditative vibe, and you're like, oh, and but it really is, it really does help people. I feel, or should I say, let me rephrase that, it's very capable of helping people connect with spirit,
Thank
what you
you.
guys are doing. And so we have a new album in the works, correct?
We do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So give me the skinny of what's going on, what's the plan, and where can we find you guys? How can we get a hold of you? How can you be booked and all of that? Where are we listed? And let's just go ahead and give me all the info there so that our viewers can keep in touch with you guys.
Totally. So the new album, it's called The Song of Trees. Um, it'll be out probably in the fall of this year. Like Jesse has and Dave had mentioned earlier, we have Void and Salt and Tears are two of the singles from it.
Otherworld is on it too.
Otherworld, even though it's released as a single, will be released on that album as well. So there's 3 singles out of it already. We are planning on releasing another single, Elemental Cry, in the next few months here. And this album, as Jesse had said earlier, Kemet was more Egyptian themed, just because that's how it started. Like where we got the inspiration from. Whereas this one is it's not Egyptian themed. It's like it's more general oriented pagan themes, such as
No specific.
Yeah, no specific pantheon or anything like that. We try. I know it was very important for Dave as well as myself. We try to keep it as accessible as possible, because there's so many of us who do, even within our own group here, we all work with different pantheons and different ways of, doing practicing our own spirituality. So we try to keep the themes and, stuff that we're talking about as I don't like the word generic, but as generic as possible, so people can
as human as possible.
And human, that's a better word. Yeah.
Open-ended.
Open-ended as possible, so that people can listen and take their interpretation for themselves, and we're not feeding them our own personal interpretation. But it's basically about the elements, so earth, air, fire, water, void, essentially. And yeah, Dave can talk all about our social media because I talk so much all the time.
Yeah, but you do with the social media. We have all the links on hemnetjer.band. That's also where you can watch the videos right away. But
Yes.
Like we mentioned, Jesse has a great video on the YouTube channel as well about how to get started with throat singing. And it has the links to Facebook and Instagram. I think we're pretty findable now that social media was the only thing to like work with in the last 2 years, and that name was unique enough to kind of jump out or get picked up on the search engine. Totally. So
but the best place to buy our music is on our Bandcamp page, which the link is on the very top of our website. Bandcamp, if you don't know, is a wonderful, wonderful place where artists, up and coming artists such as ourselves, and if we get the most money out of it and they take the least amount, because iTunes and Spotify and all that stuff take a massive cut, and it's very hard as an artist. And unfortunately, sometimes things come down to money. So Bandcamp is our best place to purchase our music. We has all of our merch up there for sale. Some of it is handcrafted by myself, all ethically sourced. We're on Spotify, YouTube, Apple, all the places. Yeah, Jesse's wearing one of our lovely pieces of merch. Yes.
I do kind of just want to piggyback off of the Bandcamp statement. Now, if you really want to help out, wait until Bandcamp has one of their Bandcamp Friday deals going down where they waive their percentage and then purchase. That really helps the artist out. So
although I think on June 22nd they have a fundraiser, so that's when they donate all their profits to like organizations I think it's mostly in the United States, but for like good causes. So that's also a good time to do it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Totally. Yeah.
Right. Awesome. So you'll find all of the links that you need to get a hold of Hem Netjer, to find them, to listen to them, to purchase their music, and help support this wonderful band that's doing wonderful things. So, is there anything else you guys want to put out to the audience before we skedaddle here?
Just support your local artists, whether they're musicians or not. You know, it's the last few years has been difficult for up and coming artists in any form. So support, you know, and support, you know, we're really grateful to, you know, the IRPA and all this stuff, because it's been really wonderful to connect with more people and yeah, you know, and connect abroad too, you know,
Yeah.
which is really, really great. So we're really thankful for that. So
Yeah, thank you,
playing in
Rich, for doing a great interview. We
Yeah,
really appreciate it.
yes,
Of course, man. You guys are awesome. I mean, I wanted to get together with you guys back in like April,
yeah,
but life gets in the way. It happens,
totally.
yeah,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been
The
an
plague.
absolute.
We had the plague.
It's been an
Yeah.
absolute pleasure talking with you guys.
Thank
One last thing to like probably mention is that we're gonna be playing live in Seattle on June 30th
Seattle.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's true. We'll
Yeah.
be in
All right.
Seattle
Yeah.
at Mechanismus Festival. It's
right.
on June 30th, and
at the Crocodile
we're going to be in Calgary and at the end of July.
at
Those
the
are
Terminus
the
Festival.
Terminus Festival. Those are the two shows we have lined up.
That's awesome, guys.
Yeah.
Congratulations on, being on the come up and getting the shows together, getting your albums out there, and also good luck with the International Pagan Music Awards, where you guys were nominated for Best Band. And I'm openly out there saying it, guys. I voted for them. So
Thank you.
but yeah, honestly, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. We should definitely do this again sometime, in your travels and all of that. And
Yes.
yeah. So until next time, guys, I'm Cloud
Thank you very
Potato
much,
Rapper, and thank you guys for watching. All right.
Awesome.
Bright blesses and
Bye.
blessed be everybody.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Nice to be.
Thanks for sticking around, everyone. Cloud here, and I just want to let you know about our IPR shop, where you can go and purchase IPR merch and help support the station. If you want to support without purchasing any merch, you can go to our main page and you can click the donate button, and from there, you can donate to help support the station as well. We also have advertising slots available for all you business owners out there. For an advertising slot, email manager@internationalpaganradio.com for more info. And thanks for listening to IPR, where it's all pagan all the time.